welcome, welcome, welcome to, believe it or not, our 19th episode of the J&J Photo Art Marketing Cafe. Can you believe that? 19 episodes.
Crazy.
We've been, yeah, so that's why I put in the chat room a reminder for the YouTube channel. There's all of the meetings that we do, we record, and they're available for you to go back, review, and you can fast forward and all of that to kind of skip over things that may not be of interest or be relevant for you. But it's a good thing to subscribe over there. And as we post new videos, you'll get a notification. And this way, if you do miss a meeting, you can always go back and get set up. So today's meeting is about mailing list do's and don'ts for the art business. But before I dig in and get too deep into the conversation, let's say hello to my buddy Jessica.
Hi. How you doing today? So yeah, Joanne, you have a great chat ahead of us as far as what to do, what not to do when it comes to your emailing list. And then I have a bonus content for after that regarding blogs and how beneficial they are. So yeah, I'm happy you're all able to join us. And it's just another element, another more tools to add to your arsenal when it comes to selling your art. So Joanne, if you want, let's take it away with all the good stuff that you got ahead of us.
All the good stuff. Just a reminder, if everybody can make sure their microphones are on mute until we get to the Q&A, okay? So we're creative people, right? So creative people need to remain creative, but you should also have that network of people around you that help guide you in moving forward with your art photography and your art business endeavor. So here we are, J&J Cafe. As I said, we're episode 19 for you today. Head over to the YouTube channel when you get a chance. If you just go to YouTube and you type in Photo Art Pavilion, it'll come up. You should be able to hit the subscribe button right there at the top. And again, you'll never miss another fantastic episode from Photo Art Pavilion. Emails also in the chat room. If you want to reach out to us directly, have any additional questions that may not get answered here today, happy to answer those for you. And also, if you'd like to reach out, if a couple of you have already done so, to utilize Jessica and I for a one-on-one art business coaching, we're available for that as well. So let's dig into the do's and don'ts for email marketing in the art world and pretty much in any world. So last month we discussed the T-minus October 1st date. October 1st being the date that most people that are looking to make purchases through the holiday season, the holiday sales start to really pick up. So what we're looking at now is doing the work now, doing the marketing now that leads us up to the October 1, so that you're now beginning to be in front of your friends, your families, your fans, and bringing them, leading them towards a serious consideration towards making a purchase of your art during the hottest selling season of the year, which is coming up. As you know, November, December is the hottest selling season of the year. So your order, if you wait until November and December to start marketing to your audience, they've already made some mental decisions as to what their holiday purchases look like, and you might be too late to the punch. In fact, most likely you will be late to the punch. So we want to get you there early, and part of the getting you there early is using the most powerful tool that you have as an art photographer and in your marketing, which is your email marketing list. So direct emails going out that drive people to your storefront is the way to go. That's a digital reaction. They're going to receive an email, which is digital. They're going to make a click through from that email to something that's directly on your store, and it's digital. It's easy for them to move forward through the process of interest to purchase. And that's kind of what we're looking to get them to do. It's a little bit more difficult to do that through social media. You're not sure who's seeing your social media posts. I'm not saying don't do social media, but you also want to have some control of what you're doing to talk to your audience. So having that direct email really gives you all of that. So if you've been with us for the past 18 episodes, you know that by this point, this stage of the game, you should have your email service provider account already set up. We do have a previous episode, again, on our YouTube channel that talks about getting set up with an email service provider. Uh, if you haven't done so already, right after this meeting, go set up your email address, your email account. Because at this point, if you have that email list, email service provider already set up, you're going through the process now of collecting emails, adding emails to that list. So we want to consider, as we're going through the do's and don'ts of the email marketing, uh, getting those people in the list, but getting them into that list the right way, and then reaching out to them in the right way. So the first thing we're going to do before we discuss do's and don'ts, you have to have two things in the ready when you're sending out an email campaign. Number one, you have to have a plan. You can't really just be willy-nilly about sending out emails. You want to have some sort of a plan on, I'm going to send out, let's say we make a 6-week plan or a 2-month plan. On this day, I'm going to send out this type of an email. Then, 2 weeks from now, I'm going to send out another type of email. And you're just going to keep marching down that road. So that's what I mean when I say having a plan when it comes to your email marketing. And then with all of the email marketing that you're doing, you're creative. Stay creative with your subject line. Have catchy subject lines that will prompt people to want to open your emails. Something that piques their curiosity within the subject line of your email. So those two elements are first and foremost in moving forward with your email marketing. So let's talk about what not to do, what you don't want to do with regard to your email marketing. You do not want to be a salesperson 24/7. It's a really great idea to mix up your messaging. So now, as a creative in the photography business, in the art business especially, there's a lot going on. You're multifaceted. Whether you realize it or not, you're multifaceted. It's not only about sales. It's about creating interest in what surrounds your art. How did you get to create certain pieces? Just tell those stories. That's really, really important. Talk to your audience about other things going on in your art world, whether it be exhibits that you're involved in, or travels that you're involved in, recent trips that you may have taken that you came away with XYZ amount of artwork for them to look at. So don't always be salesy, be friendly. Just be friendly. If you keep that in mind, you're going to have a lot more success. Don't forget your call to action within your emails. So clickable words, clickable phrases, images, and all help you see inside your audience's interests. So what do I mean by that? If you have the email service provider, let's say it's MailChimp or Constant Contact, whatever you're using, after you send out an email campaign, you're going to get data, stats, and you'll be able to see what your audience is, A, opening, B, what they're clicking on, and how they're coming through to your storefront. Are they clicking on images? Which images excite them? Are they clicking on certain words or phrases? Are they clicking on your headshot? What is getting them excited about that email that went out? And those statistics, like we've talked about in other cafes, the more data that you have on your audience, the better you're going to be with being able to target, uh, really drill down into who needs to see the email that's going out. So I highly recommend that you have that call to action, have many different call to action in that email campaign. And then after the campaign goes out, go back and look at the stats. You may have to wait a week to see the stats fully come through, because not everybody opens all of their emails every day. Shocking, but that happens. So give it some time and let the data and the stats come back to you, and then react to them with your next email campaign. The other big don't is don't overuse punctuation, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. That's distracting when people are reading, and it's really not a great idea. So utilize an exclamation point, but you don't need 4 or 5 in a row. Um, on occasion, sure, it might be a great way to capture somebody's attention, but in the short scheme of things, keep your punctuation uh, generic, if you will. Okay. I also like to throw in a little emoji here and there, depending on if it's I want to call attention to a certain area of my newsletter. I may throw an emoji in there. So you could utilize that, but again, keep that punctuation. Don't repeat it over and over again. And then the other big don't is don't send out too many emails to your readers. Um, I don't think this is going to be a problem for most of the photographers that are on this meeting. A lot of you don't really send out direct emails on a regular basis. So what I am going to challenge all of you to do is forget about don't sending out too many emails. How about we get you in the habit of sending out at least one email every 2 weeks? Just every 2 weeks. So if you grab your calendar for today and you just put on your calendar to have every 2 weeks an email that needs to go out to your audience, and then create that plan. Week one, I'm going to talk about my trip to Acadia, which I just got back from. The 2 weeks from now, I'm going to direct everybody to the images that came away from Acadia. And now you're kind of leading them through. You're telling a story, but you're building it out over a 6 week or an 8 week period. But you're getting an email out to them once every 2 weeks. I do not consider that to be too many emails. I have some vendors that I may have purchased something through, and I'll get an email like every day, and I'm at the point where it's like, okay, unsubscribe, unsubscribe. Like, we don't want our audience to unsubscribe. We don't want them to be looking in the inbox and saying, oh, there's another email from Joanne. I can't believe it. This one is crazy. Like, delete. Then they're not even going to read them. And then eventually they're going to unsubscribe. So every 2 weeks, I think right now for all of you that are having some difficulties with getting started in direct emails, I think every 2 weeks is a good goal and a good way to set you into that October 1st. Get your seeds planted now, and this is the best way to go about it. Okay, so what do we want to do with our email lists, right? First thing we want to do is we want to be honest. Okay, clearly identify who you are and your purpose, your story. Make sure as you're sending out these campaigns every 2 weeks. Make sure you're using the same logo. If you have a logo, make sure you're using that on every email that goes out. If you have a headshot, which you all should have a headshot, make sure that's in the body of the email. Could be at the bottom in the signature area, but that's something that again creates that honesty and that integrity. Because what you have to understand is that on the other side, when you hit the send button, there's a person over there on the other side that's reading it. So you want to be able to make sure that uh, they can identify with you in some way. So branding becomes part of the message itself. So any email that I send up, I have my Joanne Henig photography logo across the top. I have my headshot at the bottom on the signature area, and I have whatever content I want to feature in between. And all links lead over to my storefront, plain and simple. So that's a great thing that you ought to be doing. Now let's consider your target audience. Jessica has always talked about the 3 F's, right? Friends, families, and fans. Well, what about interior designers? What about commercial property managers? How do you separate them in your email campaign? Because one size email doesn't fit all. So what I do is I can put tags or segments. I can segment my audience. I have, let's say, 150 people in my direct email list. I have them segmented by either friends and family. I have a B2B, business to business, and now I'm building out commercial property managers. And it's taking time, but if I can add 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 a month, I'm building that list. Okay. But then when I go out and I send an email campaign, again, if I'm sending one email every 2 weeks, I can take one email send it out to my friends, segment it, only send it to the friends and families, and then I could um, draft that email, like slightly modify it so that it speaks to just my interior designers on my list. I can then recraft that again just to speak to the property managers on my list. So I'm still sending out one email every 2 weeks, but I'm segmenting it to fit the reader on the other side of the campaign. So the other thing is we really want to have a strong goal when it comes to each email campaign. The goal is the goal is to really solve a problem, right? So the problem might be that you have new art that's available in your storefront, like as if that's a problem, but it is a problem because no one's seeing it, right? The solution is going to be that email campaign that goes out. So if you have new art that you've uploaded into your storefront from your recent travels, let's say, like we just talked about, Acadia National Park. So the goal is to direct the subscribers to the newly added art images. So one of the words that I like to use when I do have new art that might be, let's say, 5 or 6 images from a specific either trip I took or recent outing with my camera, I love to use the word curated. And I don't know if any of you are using that word curated, but it's essential, especially since you're working with Photo Art Pavilion and your art that's on Photo Art Pavilion is curated, meaning it's been looked at uh, for saleability purposes. Okay, so when I send out that type of email, I'll say new curated Acadia National Park collection, something in that vein. That keyword really does, and I highlight curated in my post. And when I go back and I look at the stats, you'd be surprised how a special word like that kind of sparks the art buyer, the art collector. So stay balanced with your text and your images within your campaign. Don't be over wordy and don't be over picturey imagery. I like to have a paragraph of some information, like the hook to kind of bring their attention in, maybe 4 images side by side or 2 side by side, or even one if I'm really emphasizing one new piece that I've created. And then I'll have some more text, and buried within all of that is hot links everywhere. And that's a great balance so that, again, your readers want to support you for all intents and purposes. Most of the folks that are on your email list have an interest in what it is that you have to offer. So you want to create that nice balance within the body of the email. Something else that you could do that I find to be a benefit is be a little silly. A little bit of humor can really go a long way when you're writing content for your recipients on the other end. Uh, I use humor, not always. Again, mixing up the content so that you keep your reader a little bit off balance, so they don't know always what to expect from you. But at the same token, they're coming, it's driving them, their interest a little bit deeper into who you are and what you're doing and what it is that you have to say and what you're offering. We mentioned this at the beginning of this meeting. Do consider your subject line. It has to be interesting, it has to be engaging, and it does have to support the overall message that's in there. Don't have a subject line that maybe says I don't know, something about a snowstorm. It's the only thing that's coming to mind right now. And then you have photographs of pretty flowers. Uh, be very creative with your subject line. That's going to help people. At least you want to see opens. How many people are opening the email? That subject line is going to be one of the first things that they see before they actually open, and then they start reading and then clicking through. So you have to be a little bit creative there, and you have to tie that subject line into what's going on within the body of the text, of the body of the email. So uh, yes, there's a lot of things to think about that I've just mentioned here. A lot to think about when designing your email campaigns. We talked about balance, having a balance of imagery and text. Balance is so important, truthfully. Having a goal, like what is the campaign looking to achieve? And then going back and looking at that the stats once the email goes out. Frequency, I challenge all of you, 1 email every 2 weeks. Don't overthink it, just do it. Make it engaging, and then have a variety. Have a variety of what it is that you're talking about to your audience. But the most important thing is to just get out there and write the darn emails and hit send. So important. It's important. So I'm going to open up the floor to Q&A. Oh, wait, before I do that, I think Jessica wants to have a short conversation about the blogs, and then we'll open up the Q&A.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Joanne. That was great information regarding the emails and what to do, what not to do. You definitely touched a lot of great points on there. And, you know, again, I just wanted to come back around to the 3 Fs. I know I say that all the time in the marketing PDFs that we provide to our Photo Art Pavilion artists. And obviously during our shows here, our cafe meetings. But yeah, there's other categories like interior designers, property managers, office managers, and so on, that you do kind of need to speak to on a regular basis, whether you're reaching out to that community or not. But yes, 3 Fs is usually my go-to phrase for encompassing everybody. But anywho, all right, moving on. So Photo Art Pavilion artists have the ability to do blogs. Now blogs, again, I've mentioned before in other videos how they have a longer time period that is relative in the internet world. And to be able to do even short blogs, they don't need to be that long, just some information regarding you, your journey, anything that's personally related with your photographic journey. Now, the element that I always forget to share with the Photo Art Pavilion artists is that when reviewing the blog posts before they go live, I always check for grammar. I have an app that checks for grammar. I make sure that there's links that are correctly linking to everything. I'm basically overlooking all elements within your blog post to ensure that it's sound content going out and that you'll be receiving any kind of traffic to your storefront. So, you know, other people, you know, you're always focusing on, you know, social media and you know, email marketing and stuff, but don't forget about the blog. The blog is essentially an HTML page or a page itself on the website that has a longer lifespan than any social media post. And it's always going to be basically reusable content. So perhaps it's based on a trip that you went and you want to share a collection. Perhaps it's, you know, you're sharing a certain theme of art. These are all elements of information that you're able to share on a regular basis through social media and always driving people into that information. So I just want to put it out there again. Don't forget to blog. Even the emails that you're sending out, you could even have like a read more area, click over to the blog post and have even further information in there. And then in that information on the blog post, you're directing them as well to your storefront. You can always have multiple links going in different directions and just driving people to see your art and in your storefront. So don't forget about that tool. Is a great resource for your art business. So with that said,
yeah,
any questions?
The read more. The read more is a good little tidbit.
It is. Yeah. It is. It keeps the user engaged and also moving through where you're directing them to. So it's definitely a good tool.
All right, everybody. If you have any additional questions, send us an email. Happy to answer them, and look forward to seeing you all again next month.
All right.
Thank you.
Rest of your summer, guys.
Have a good one. Enjoy the rest of the summer.